Hello, Eagle Eye Watchers. I'm Resulka, and we are currently in the case of the missing mink. I actually remembered what the case was called. Yay! Anyway, let's go to Taylor Park. Oh, look at all the flowers. At least I think they're flowers. It's hard to tell when they're little pixelated things. Mrs. Minsky, Melinda Juice, and Mrs. Harper all belong to the Ridgeview Garden Society. Perhaps we'll talk to the people here. If we talk to the people here, we'll learn something. Oh, it's Sylvia Torres. What a shame about Mrs. Minsky's mink being stolen. I won't wear any animal skins at all myself, but I really admired Mrs. Minsky for not wearing hers. People of her generation weren't as aware about animals' rights as we are now, like Linda Harper. Why, she didn't even take her mink coat off when she helped me set up her flower display yesterday, and it took all day. On my way to pick up Mrs. Harper yesterday, I passed Mrs. Minsky's house. Melinda Juice was there, getting the key out from under the mat. She was carrying a big ice cream cone. I keep telling her that sugar-filled products like that are fattening, but she's got a real sweet tooth. The flower exhibits are beautiful and intricate. It looks like it took a lot of work to set these up. Or set them up, but yes. Alright, where are we going now? Ah, Medfords Jewelers. Let's speak to Melinda Juice. You definitely shouldn't be skateboarding inside a jewelry store, Jake. You might break something. Melinda Juice is acting manager of Medfords Jewelers. Let's see if she can tell us anything about the theft. Mrs. Minsky's back in town already. She told me she wouldn't be back in Ridgeview for 2 more days. I know the mink coat you're talking about, but I didn't notice whether or not it was there this week. Mrs. Minsky left her key for me under the mat so I could get in and feed Fluffy and Puffy, her Siamese cats. Really stupid names for Siamese cats, but oh well. We made the arrangements when we were having tea with Linda Harper and Sylvia Torres of the Garden Society. Mrs. Minsky told me she would leave a key underneath the mat, and it was right there when I stopped by. Medfords Jewelers is quite busy. A sign on the display case reads, "Sale! Diamond earrings 50% off." There are many customers looking at jewelry. I really do not know why that is relevant to our case, but oh well. But it makes everything sparkle. It's so pretty. The desk in the office is covered with receipts for jewelry sales. There is a pad for messages next to the telephone. A message with today's date on Melinda Juice's desk reads, "Samson's Fur Cleaners. Pick up coat tomorrow, 3 p.m. Well, that just clinches it, doesn't it? We know who did it, we know how it happened, and we know where it currently is. But apparently, we still have to go to quarter-time video, okay? And tell the boys that Nancy fingered that, well, Nancy fingered, but, they're not to worry, really, but they're gonna tell us that they were innocent anyway. Mike Walker and Willie Barr are best of friends. They hang out here a lot on weekends. What's happening with the bag? Mike's gym bag contains his baseball outfit, a uniform, and bill. The baseball is dirty. A flyer for the skateboard club is tacked to the arcade bulletin board. A notice says that the girls' softball team sign-ups start next week. Also not relevant. A coupon for a free ice cream at Sweet Treats is tacked to the board. A note on it says free when you buy 50 tokens. Sure, Mike went into Mrs. Minsky's yard yesterday, but only to get our ball back. If she found it there, she would never let us get it back. Like Dave Grant found. Oh no, it wasn't Dave Grant, it was Eric, wasn't it? That Eric boy. Anyway, I climbed a tree to check out where the ball went, so I could see him the whole time. He didn't go into her house, no way. What do you got to say for yourself, Mike? I only climbed into Mrs. Minsky's yard to get my baseball. We were playing ball under the treehouse, and I accidentally hit one over the fence. Mrs. Minsky gets real mad if she finds us playing in her yard.
She has those expensive flowers, I guessed. So I got out of there fast. Almost got snagged, too. Melinda Juice was coming out of the house carrying a big package, so I grabbed the ball and ducked behind the garage, but it was close. Big package. So we're up to solving the case? Yep. I didn't even bother reading what you said, Jake. I'm sorry. Anyway, Mrs. Minsky asked Melinda Juice. Yes. Nah. That one's relevant. No. Yes. Yes. Where's that sticky stain? Could have sworn that there was one that said that there was a sticky stain on the floor. Or not. Let's just go with that one. Those are the clues we need. Now who do you think took Mrs. Minsky's mink? I think it was Melinda Juice. Right, Melinda Juice is responsible for Mrs. Mink. Let's check the evidence. Mrs. Minsky told us that she left the key underneath her mat for Melinda Juice, so she could come over and feed her cats while Mrs. Minsky was out of town. Sylvia Torres told us that when she drove by Mrs. Minsky's house yesterday, she saw Melinda Juice stopping in to feed the cats. She said Mrs. Juice was carrying an ice cream cone. Mrs. Harper told us that Melinda Juice always was envious of her mink coat, but that she wouldn't lend it to her because she was always spilling things. Mike Walker told us that when he went into Mrs. Minsky's yard to get his ball, he saw Melinda Juice leaving with a big package. Big package. We found a stain on the carpet underneath the coat rack. Again, not the carpet, it's the floor that used to hold the mink. It looked like ice cream or some other sticky substance had been spilled there. When we stopped by at Medfords, we found a phone message on Melinda Juice's desk. It was from Sampson's Fur Cleaners, and it said she could pick up a coat tomorrow, but Mrs. Juice doesn't own a fur coat. She did it. Whatever. Nancy, tell us your words. Look, guys, another thank you note for our scrapbook. Yeah, Mrs. Minsky was really glad to get her mink back. Resulka did a great job with that case. Let's take a look at that note. Dear Resulka, I can't thank you enough for your help in retrieving my mink. Once we presented the clues you came up to Melinda Juice, she confessed immediately. It seems that when she stopped by to feed Fluffy and Puffy yesterday, she spilled some of her ice cream on my mink coat. She thought I wouldn't be back in town for 2 more days, so she took the coat to Sampson's Fur Cleaners to remove the stain. She had planned to return it before I came home, but I arrived earlier than expected, and rather than admit that she had been so clumsy, she thought she would use the key and... What? Okay. She thought she would use the key underneath the mat to secretly replace the coat tomorrow. My coat will be back tomorrow, cleaned and brushed, so I'm not at all upset. Please join me this afternoon for some of my fine special... I don't know where I got fined anyway. For my special blueberry pie in appreciation of your fine detective work. Yours, Mrs. Minsky. P.S. Do not bring Watson your iguana. Whee! Alright, well, rather than continuing on, I'm going to cut the video and we will come back and do more cases later in the week. Bye-bye, guys!